you're a great role model at the moment. And not to say you weren't ever, but I feel like right now you are an excellent role model for our kids and our children and even our grown men that are watching. But it wasn't always the case, was it, Ahmed?
No.
Welcome back to the After Hours podcast. Today I've got a big guest, I would say, in his own respect. Good friend of mine. I was a fan until I became a friend. Ahmed Ali, my guy. Nice to have you. Thank you so much for coming on board, mate.
Thank you for the invitation. Good to be here. I've watched a few of your episodes and keep up the good work, brother. You came to my, I don't know what to call it. I don't think it was a legitimate setup like this one, but I had you on Ahmed's Angle a few years ago, and very good episode, and happy to be here.
What happened to Ahmed Angle anyway? What happened, Ahmed?
Well, I realized it's too much effort, bro. The lockdown got me hyped up, bro. You know, people had too much time on their hands. I was off Instagram for years, bro, and just because of that idea, I came back onto Instagram, did a few things on there just to get some followers, because I had this plan of like having something quite similar to this, inviting people to speak on like certain topics that interests me. I think I had 3 episodes, 2 or 3 guests, and I just realized it's a lot of effort, and it's not something that is dead and buried just yet. I might pick it up in the future, but like I said, yeah, it's a lot of effort. Like I'm sure you've realized, and at the time it's not working for me, but hopefully in the future you'll see more of that.
You know what, Ahmed's Angle. I wanted to ask you about that anyway, but since you mentioned it, I thought I'd give you a little introduction on Ahmed's Angle. But before that, let's go and talk about you, Ahmed. Where you're from, Holland, you said?
Yeah, I'm from Holland. I've lived in England now for 6 years. Born in Somalia originally. Yeah, that's basically where I've lived. I've lived in Holland, I guess, just over 20 years. Nice place. Are you from Holland as well?
Ik ben Nederlander, ja.
Yeah. So I realized in Birmingham, like a big proportion of the Somali community is from Holland. I guess in London as well. I remember when I was younger, and I used to come to the UK with some of my friends on holidays. And you think like when you're abroad that you can speak in your native language amongst, the foreigners. But quick I came to realize that that's not a good idea in London or Birmingham.
So Birmingham you came to, or?
I moved to Birmingham when I got married 6 years ago. And I've been there ever since.
Okay.
Sorry, that's not true. I've lived in Qatar a bit throughout that time.
You went there for 2 years, was it? Or 1 year?
A year. Just over a year, yeah.
Work? Was it work related? Or?
Yeah, my wife got a job there as a radiographer. I always even before I got married, I always had this idea of like just exploring the world. The world is big. And I remember speaking to my wife about it in the early stages of our marriage, and she was always hesitant to move or to leave. But at some point in life, I think we found, especially when we was there, we loved it. And now we're flexible as well. Like that's what I would say to anyone. Like the world is your oyster. As long as you don't think you have to settle just because you were born in a certain locality. I was born in Somalia. Thought Holland was home after that. And I thought England was home. Then I went to Qatar, and I see myself in the future moving back to that part of the world, to be honest.
Fell in love with Qatar?
Yeah, Qatar was amazing, to be honest. The work family balance is very good. You start early in the morning, finish mid-afternoon. I guess as a working parent, you can actually pick up your kid from school, which is like...
They allow you to do that, yeah.
Yeah, because the times are somewhat similar. Because when you finish work there, it's roughly the same time as when the kids finish school. Here, I guess, normal working day, you finish at 5 o'clock. But your kid finishes school at about 3. So it's not really feasible. But over there, the weather, of course, is a very big plus. Religion, you're close to a lot of holiday destinations, which maybe is a factor for some people. But like, for example, you can go to Australia, Indonesia, Malaysia.
It's all in the same
Turkey,
region towards, yeah.
So, yeah, it was good. But obviously, if you don't have a job, it's not somewhere like Turkey where the living costs are a bit low. It is quite expensive, but yeah, to each their own, I guess. But from my experience, it was amazing.
You know, Ahmed, I'm just going to jump straight into it, man. First of all, I always want to bring you on here. I think I told you from when I first set up the podcast, I said I'd love to have you on. But in recent, I've seen you. If you want to speak about this, I don't know if you do. You really had like. First of all, I'll introduce you as. You were the Somali captain, so the Somali National Team Captain. There has been some riffraffs and stuff going on in the camp and stuff. I don't know much about. I should to be fair. Sorry, but there's been a lot of how do you call it? There's been
conflict
yeah, something along those lines, and you are kind of holding the torch and speaking up on certain topics that a lot of people are scared to speak out on. I wanted to ask you outside of this podcast what's going on. I felt it's better for me to ask you on the air so you can explain it in detail to me and also to others watching. What the hell is going on, Ahmed, bro?
Well,
what's going on?
Question. I'm not sure if I'm the one holding the torch. I'm not sure if that's.
It looks as though you really, yeah.
There are other people out there that are trying to shed light on what's actually happening. From what I can see is it's like there's people in charge, or there are people with important positions within the federation who are not doing the country or themselves any favors, and that's been going on for a long time. Mm-hmm. Now, in the last week or so, it's come to light that we've registered for the 2023 AFCON, which is in Ivory Coast next year, and it just appears that all these years it was just as simple as replying to an invitation, and for that to have happened just now, it's a shame, and it's a waste of I don't know how many generations in the past that were denied an opportunity to express themselves and maybe achieve more things in football than what they have. But now, luckily, it looks like we've turned the corner in that respect. But within the federation, there is, as most are aware, a conflict between the president and the vice president. One is accusing the other of mismanagement of funds and all sorts of other things. And the other is saying that he's still in power. The other group was not in their rights to suspend him. It appears that FIFA has to intervene to pick right from wrong. And that is something that currently is still debatable. I remember seeing a video clip a few weeks ago where the vice president who announced himself as the current president said that from that point on, he would represent the Somali Football Federation at official engagements, whether it's FIFA related or CAF related. But when it came to the African Cup of Nations that is currently ongoing, he was nowhere to be found. He was nowhere to be found as a representative of the Somali Football Federation, which showed me that, they created all this commotion and announced themselves as the saviors of Somali football. But when it came to prove that they are the legitimate leaders, they were nowhere to be seen. So I think this is still unclear as to who's right and who's wrong and what the future holds. But it is something that is developing, and I'm sure in the next few weeks we will see an update in that regard.
Okay, I know you've. First of all, you probably only speak on this topic because you've seen it firsthand. Is it okay if I ask you what have you seen because this guy was our captain when we had our most important game to date. So you flew out to Somalia. Were you playing?
No, we played in Djibouti.
Oh, you played in Djibouti, yeah? So you played in Djibouti against Zimbabwe. First leg you won 1-0, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Second leg, we don't need to mention the scores, but the fact is you was there, you've seen what happened, the camp came together. Is there something you've seen along the lines where you thought, this is not how it should be done? Because you've been playing football for a while.
Yeah. To be honest, my initial impressions were that it's, as funny as it may sound, it's better than what it used to be. I've played for the national team since 2012. And when I went to the camp in 2019, it was a lot better. The tickets got paid for. First time I went to represent the national team, I had to pay for my own ticket. Okay. So in that respect, I was like, okay, this is better. I seen a lot of players that were from the West, America, and that play at a decent standard. So I thought, you know what, this looks like something that I was, shouting it for a number of years. And now it looked like we've got a legitimate chance to compete against some of these countries that we've lost against in the past. So obviously when everyone came together, I was trying to tell the players, like, you know what, I know it's not what you might be used to, because some of them actually play like at a very good level, but be patient. It's not fair to compare ourselves to the FA or the Dutch, national team or any of those countries. It's not fair and not realistic. But we could be the generation now that can ride the momentum on the way up. So, especially after the first game, that feeling of togetherness and looking forward to the future was only enhanced. We thought, you know what, if we actually get to beat Zimbabwe in the second leg as well, or at least not lose by 2 goals, we've got a whole cycle of the next qualification where we can build, a relationship, momentum, an understanding of each other, and get the country going in the right direction. Obviously, that didn't materialize. We lost, unfortunately. Qatar Allah. But at the same time, we were at that stage told, you know what, this is it. This is a new chapter in Somali football. We've got the AFCON that is currently ongoing. At the time, we were told we've registered. So that's the next, time for the players to get together. And we got the sense from the federation that they were going to invest in football, in the players, in us. Not necessarily us as a group, because, selection can change. That's not a problem. But we thought that we've made them realize that as long as they invest in football and in the national team, they'll get something back, whether it's like exposure or whatever it may be. So we thought we're on the same book, on the same page at least. But obviously that's time just goes by so quickly, and it's only so long that you can use COVID as an excuse. So first few weeks, first few months after, obviously still the momentum of that win, the experience. We had Sekafa after, and then COVID hit. And then the first few months, like I said, everything was like at a standstill around the globe. No football was being played. No fans were allowed. But slowly and surely things picked up. African nations were getting together, friendlies, qualification games. And that's where we started to get a feeling of like, not to downplay the significance of inshallah, but that's something that we kept hearing, like, inshallah, be patient, new managers coming, new games are coming. It takes time, it takes a year or whatever to organize a friendly. It's not easy. And we kept being patient. We got a meeting with the president over Zoom. We spoke to the president.
President
of the federation, not the country, of the Somali Football Federation. And then before we knew it, we got lucky that we got invited by Qatar for this Arab Cup. It's something that just happened out of nowhere, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have had a game till now. This Arab Cup was just an initiative to test, the preparation for the World Cup. And surprisingly as it may be to some, like, Somalis are considered as Arab, so we got invited. And then before we knew it, boom, the game is in this, like, I think it was July or June. I'm not sure. But at the time, around March, April, we thought it was going to be in September. So out of nowhere, we get a message to say that, you know what, the game is in 6 weeks or 8 weeks. And amongst the players, there was this sense of like injustice. Like, how can we as a country be so underprepared where we get shoved with a game of this importance with no preparation, no manager? Like, we had a lot of conversations amongst
schoolboy stuff, innit?
Schoolboy, yeah. Like, amongst the players, like, I'll be honest, I was a bit surprised because, like, the players were so up in the air about this that they didn't even want to play. A lot of players, they didn't want to play.
I've seen that.
And we had a lot of conversations amongst ourselves. At one point, the dominating narrative was like, we're not going to go. We're going to boycott this game as a group of players. And we thought about it. And in the end, as a group of players, we said, you know what? That might not be the best thing to do. Best thing to do might be that we just go, we try our best.
Regardless what happens,
Regardless of what happens. And after the game, we come out with a joint statement to say that things need to improve, and that's what we went for. And I don't know. People might say that it hasn't had any effect. We're still, I don't know, almost a year from that game, but I don't think being silent and not speaking out is an option at this point. It's not. So, yeah.
With this newfound voice that I would say the Somali team and the people that are following have, how long do you think it would take for Somalia to be, not of course like you said Holland FA or England FA, but a better level where people start to realize, you know what, we need to put them in conversations with Ivory Coast or Zimbabwe or these countries that have been playing AFCON year after year, Morocco and all these countries?
Like personally, I don't think we're that far off. I remember the first episode that I did with Ahmed Ali was I tried to address the question why we are underrepresented as Somalis at the top of world football, which kind of links to your question. And in recent times, I've come to the conclusion it's just that we are in the wrong generation, because our parents are the first generation immigrants that have come to the West, and we are their first generation of children. We're still trying to find our feet. Our parents have got, I don't know, X number of children. It's difficult to manage a household of that nature.
Of course.
I think the next generation, so our children, will have a better platform, given the fact that we as their parents have been able to assimilate in this country, have been able to make contacts with managers, with scouts, with people that can take our children places in terms of opportunities. So I genuinely feel that the next generation, and I think you can already tell, because there are Somali kids that play in the academy of Barcelona, in Feyenoord, Liverpool. And I just think, honestly, it's
Barcelona?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Is that confirmed?
Yeah. I follow the young lad. So that's what I mean. There's so many people out there that because I remember when we played for the national team, I realized straight away after Zimbabwe, from now on, everyone is going to want to jump on this opportunity. This might have been my last game or anyone's last game that was there. Because from that moment on, before that moment, there were players out there that said, you know what, I don't think it's the right time for me to play for Somalia because things are not done professionally.
Yeah.
We're just going to lose anyway. I might be able to play for X country that I have a passport of. But after that game, a lot of people have seen that, you know what, it's not a bad thing to represent my country.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's going to happen now. Even the players that we've come to known so far that have been integral part of the national team, they might not be part of any next cycle, because there are so many players out there who deserve a chance and who've not been able to represent their country so far.
Are there players? What would you say to players that are Somali? Because I know a few that play for countries that are not Somalia, but they are Somali. What would you say to people that chose to play for a different country? Is it up to them, or would you say just wait, or because?
No, I would say I would have done the same thing personally, yeah, honestly, and I would say to them that, especially given the way the federation is run currently, you can't compare. You cannot compare at all. If it was somewhat comparable, if you look at Morocco now, I'm from Holland. The best group of players in Holland, or the best minority community in Holland in terms of football, are probably the Moroccans. And I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, all the Moroccan players were choosing to represent Holland. Now, because the level of Morocco is I think they've jumped up to 22 in the FIFA ranking, above a lot of countries that you're familiar with. Now you got players like Ziyech, Mazraoui, plays for Ajax. There's a lot of people that now, when they're given the opportunity to pick between Morocco and Holland, or Morocco and whatever other country they're from, it's not an easy decision now anymore, because the levels are somewhat comparable. But if you're comparing Somalia to Norway, Somalia to Sweden, Somalia to any other European or Western country, I 100% understand why someone would pick. I know there's a kid in Sweden, Bilal Hussein. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but to get back to your question, if I think he's making the wrong decision, no, not at all.
Okay, so going back to Ahmed's angle, of course, listen, I've understood a lot from what you said. It makes a lot more sense. Did you post something saying now they're listening, now they're hearing a letter that Somalia wrote on your Insta? You've posted something where they said now we're starting to finally make noise.
I'm not sure. I've to be honest, in the last 2 weeks, I've posted quite a few things.
I've seen a lot. Like a rebel, man. You're trying to get yourself kicked out of the country, I think.
No, I don't know. I hope it doesn't get to that. It's nothing personal from me anyway. The other day, I had a guy on from the actual Somali Football Federation. He's the coordinator of the senior national team. So if there's ever like a trip where you're playing a game, there's always like a coordinator who's like the middleman between the federation or the manager and the players, who makes sure that the players are taken care of and stuff like that. So he was appointed after the game against Oman, but he was already present there. So from what I've been told, he's a nice guy. I've spoken to him a few times in private, invited him on to speak on, in front of the people, giving me an opportunity to ask him questions. So for me, that meant a lot. Some people said like he wasn't able to really go into details in terms of like certain questions, which is fine. But for me to have been able to speak to an official representative of the Football Federation was good. It was hopefully a turning moment. So from now on, these people need to be held accountable. There needs to be transparency. They need to be open to speaking to not just me. I'm not even a big media personality, but just media in general.
In general, yeah.
I know if you're busy, no problem. But you should make time out of your agenda to speak to the media, to inform people of changes. Yeah. You speak. There's an appointment of a manager. The players after the Oman game, they released a big statement that caused a bit of commotion for a few days. But as a federation, you need to address that then. But for them
ignore it and act like nothing happened.
Act like it never happened. It doesn't put a lot of trust in the institution.
Okay, now Ahmed's angle, I'll talk on that a little bit because I wanted to ask you about that and why it's gone radio silent is what they said. 3 episodes you done.
Yeah.
I listened to one and I listened to all 3, but there's one that you mentioned you wanted to be an agent. Is that what's up? Is that something you always wanted to do? And if so, give us the plug, man. Plug myself.
No, I don't have the plug myself. That's why it's like it's taking a bit of time. But
what's going on there?
To be honest, I wanted. Obviously, football is like, I don't know, you play football till you're about 34, 35 maybe. And there's a life after football. And I wanted to stay involved, see what I can do for the young upcoming generation. I did my level 1, but I quickly realized like coaching takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, more than the effort it probably takes to, being a player.
Yeah.
Because you need to prepare. Like as a footballer, you just turn up to training, you train, you go. But the manager, tactics, this and managing characters,
constantly being judged, is weird. Yeah,
it takes a lot of time. So then I thought to myself, you know what, an agent is someone that actually can help an individual, young talent who maybe doesn't have the facilities or the support network back home, but actually has the ability. Maybe he's Somali, maybe he's not. What if I could be the person through my network that I currently have, or maybe I don't have it yet, but that's something that I need to work on.
Of course, yeah.
If I could be that person that helps this individual receive his or achieve his full potential, that is actually a very rewarding job. It pays well as well, as a lot of people know, but that won't be the driving force in what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to find. Some part of me is telling me focus on like a Somali kid.
Yeah.
But another part of me is like, it doesn't matter, football is meritocracy. That's what I believe anyway. If you're good enough, whether you're black, white, Asian, you'll get to where you need to be. So that's something that I'm currently looking into. Like I said, I think it's twofold. You need to know the directors, the managers in football as high as possible, highest level as possible. And you need to have access to players or network database of players that meet the criteria. And then you can make, the connection between the player and the club. So I need to work on both those things. I need to be out there, have a look at players, who's good enough, who's at a level that
takes a lot.
That takes time.
Yeah,
and then at the same time, building the network on the other side, getting to know directors, managers. And I'm only 31 now. Even if it takes years and years or a decade, it's not something that you can just become successful in. But that is an ambition that I do have. Yeah.
Ahmed, I wanted to ask you. I don't know. It's kind of personal. Of course, if you don't want to answer, that's fine. But I feel like since you're on here, it'd be a great opportunity for me to really ask you questions that I feel the public need to hear, especially with what's going on in the world nowadays, in this country, and with our youth, our Somali kids. So of course, you're a great role model at the moment. And not to say you weren't ever, but I feel like right now you are an excellent role model for our kids and our children and even our grown men that are watching. But it wasn't always the case, was it, Ahmed?
No.
So I just want to ask you, was going back to your youth days, I understand you were in a transition period. Of course, I don't want to say in a bad period, but of course, you were in a phase where you might have been misled or lost or led down the wrong path. If you can you speak on some of those times?
Yeah. So I moved to England initially when I was, I think, 23. My family, we all moved to Manchester initially. My parents, my siblings, myself included. I was in Holland playing at a decent level, third division. Because all my family moved, I thought, you know what, let me go and hopefully I can make it in England as well. A lot of opportunities. The football pyramid is, is very big in Holland. Just the first two leagues are like full time, but in England, like 1 to 5 is full time, and then there's semi. So I thought, you know what, surely I can make it there as well. So I came. I still had my university going on in Holland, but I thought, you know what, let me just go there with the family. If I have an exam, I'll just come back quickly. Ryanair, it's not too much. And then, but I got exposed to a whole new world. England, a bit more rough compared to Holland. Holland, everything is like nice, pretty, clean. Family values are, very important. You can leave your kids out till late in the evening. Nothing will happen to them. So at that time in my life, I got to know a lot of friends, good friends, friends that I know till today. But it just exposed me to a whole new world of like temptations, fraud and credit card scams and things that were very prevalent, especially in the Somali community. So slowly but surely you get sucked into it, because first you think like it's only like a meal, or you think, these people will get their money reimbursed by the bank, so it's not that deep. And then before you know it, you're reaching out to, so-and-so, asking for credit card details or what it may be, as to where you thought, you know what, I'll just do it when I'm with them. Next thing you know, you're the one trying to, buy things yourself. And then before I knew it, that led me to getting a charge. It's funny that I say so, but I ended up going to prison. I don't know if everyone knows that. I'm sure a lot of people do. But that was a difficult time in my life, as you can imagine. Especially given the fact that when it happened, I was 23. I was single, had no major responsibility in terms of like having people that I care for or have a responsibility towards. But then when I got sentenced, I was 27, newly married, had a son. So that was very difficult. But Alhamdulilah, I believe everything happens for a reason.
Of course.
And to be honest, it learned me. I learned a lot from it as well. And I don't know, people talk about regret. Of course, I regret the actions, but if I look at that time in my life and whether it's benefited me or whether it's cost me, I think in some respect it has benefited me. It has made me into the man that I am today. It has made me into the man who, doesn't want to cheat HMRC, someone who tries to, to influence others' behaviors, given the fact of where I've been. And it's not to say that I am perfect or that I don't make mistakes. It's just to say that, especially when I was locked up and I was asking myself the question, like, why me? How could I've gone from being highly educated, decent level of football, to being in prison, the place where the criminals are, the dangerous people, or the people who are evil. like what has led me to be in this position. So that made me realize that one, not everyone in prison is inherently bad. You know, people all have their own lives. They have their own circumstances. And when you are confronted with someone who's made a terrible decision, it's easy for you to say like, wow, how could he have done that? I would never do such a thing, which is maybe true, but that's only true for you being in your current circumstances. But you don't know what you would have done
If you were
in someone else's circumstances, you know. So that's why I always try to see the humanity, or I try to sympathize with someone else. You know, if I see someone who's done a certain act or has been sentenced for a certain crime, I try to make myself understand that it could have been me in another life, you know, in another circumstance. I've had a great upbringing, you know, Alhamdulilah, I can't complain. But if I didn't, you know, if I had all these circumstances that this other individual has gone through, if you read some of the lives other people have, is subhanAllah, it's crazy, you know. So that's why I always try to see the humanity in other people. And I read as well at the time, like sometimes in life, you get punished for a deed that you've committed so that you don't get punished for it in the hereafter. So that gave me a lot of comfort when I was inside. I said, you know what, Alhamdulillah, you know, I'm in prison now. I tried to beat my charge, which was maybe foolish because I've pled not guilty. I would have gotten a reduction in time and stuff like that. But at the time I was just thinking, you know what, I can't, you know, concede and like admit that I'm going to have a criminal record. At least let me take my chances, you know?
Yeah.
Let me take my chances, and worst comes to worst, I'll go down for I don't know how long. But at least I've given myself a shot, and that was ill-advised, you know, but that's happened now. I've tried to move on from it. It's been 4 years now since I was sentenced, 9 years since the offense occurred. But like I said, there's people now that think, you know what, I'm untouchable. I'm doing my thing. No one knows what I'm doing. I've been getting away with it for so long, and you know, but that's why I say Alhamdulillah that I got sentenced for it. Alhamdulillah, I've faced punishment for it in this world, and just because of that, that might be the reason I won't face punishment for it in the hereafter.
You know what, Ahmed? You know, you know what I was gonna say. Some people, they say I changed in prison, or it took me a certain lesson in life to change. But with you, evidently you changed yourself, because you said the offense took place 9 years before you, or 7 years before you actually got sentenced.
It took place 3 years before I got sentenced.
Was it 2014 then?
It happened in 2014, and
The sentence happened in 2007.
2017, yeah.
So when did it actually catch up to you? When did the actual offense catch up to you, and you think, oh, now they've got me, or now?
So I got charged, I guess, 2016 maybe, and then I got sentenced in 2017. So the offense happened in 14, charged in 16.
So for that 2 year period, were you did you change?
The funny thing is, when it happened, the week after I met my wife. So that was in 2014, the week after. And then from that moment on, the transition was already ongoing.
Okay.
So, and that's what actually made it so much more painful, because then you drag everyone else into it. You understand? But Alhamdulillah, like my family, my wife, everyone's been so supportive through that time. And
I can't imagine why not. Yeah.
Yeah, they could just see that it's something like, it's something that's like in not the past, the current, like the person that they could see in front of them. So, yeah, I don't know. I was newly married. Maybe it would have been in a different relationship. Something that could shake everything up.
Of course. How can I ask, how long was the sentence?
Sentence was 12 months, and I had to do 6 months, which it's minimal compared to other sentences. But at the same time, when you're inside, you've got a young kid growing up, it was painful.
I can imagine, yeah. I can imagine.
At the time I was thinking, like I met people in there that had no one outside, no parents, no relatives, no friends. So some parts of me was thinking like, I wish I would have been someone like that, you know?
Yeah.
Drowning in my own sorrow all by myself, no one that
have to stress,
I have to feel sorry for. But on the other hand, it meant so much to have so much support from family, loved ones, relatives.
Yeah.
So
They could have easily just let go, given up on you, and that's happened in many cases where they think, yeah, just this guy's. But I was gonna say this leads me to my next question, which is did it have a knock on effect on you after? So as soon as you come out, so people they say I went jail and all my doors are closed, so there's no point but to turn back to what I used to do. Is that
no? Because like I
no?
said, like even way before I got sentenced, I wasn't involved in any of that. That's why it was such a surprise to many.
Yeah.
Especially like because my life is in England. Like this happened like maybe in the first few months when I was like
New to the country
there, and most of the people in England have gotten to know me as the man that I am today, or the man that was on his way to becoming the man that I am today. So it was alien to them, but there was no temptation whatsoever. Like before I got sentenced or after I got sentenced.
No, well, Ahmed, well, I appreciate you telling us that story. Of course,
as a personal story, bro.
It's deep. It's deep.
You.
No, thank you, man. I got a little exclusive today. But yeah, well, I appreciate that because obviously, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And with your stories and with other people's stories, people can learn. So I appreciate that people can listen to this and learn from it. And to the point is the point you're making is the point I believe you're trying to make here is. It can catch up to you. Anything you do can catch up to you. So just always be careful of what you're doing.
Try to do the right thing. Because even like people, they use as a standard, like, I'm not getting caught or no one knows. So it's acceptable. And that's fair enough. That's the standard that you can adopt in life. No problem. But as a Muslim and which is what I am, you are probably most of your audiences, I would suggest that not to live by that standard, you know. So even if you get away with it in this life, it will catch up with you in the next. So that's why I say, Alhamdulilah, you know, I got caught, which might have been a blessing in disguise. And that's led me to, you know, it prevented me from a lot more sins that I could have committed. Because I got sentenced for fraud, which you can argue is not like the worst thing in life. But a lot of people who are involved in that kind of like lifestyle, one thing leads to another. Fraud leads to money leads to whatever else. You understand? So if you don't nip it in the bud early, you'll go down a path of so much temptation that, you know, it's
can't
difficult.
Stop it. Yeah, the cycle's gone.
Yeah.
No, Ahmed, I appreciate that. So you came out, changed your life around. Alhamdulillah. Would you say? It sounds cheesy, I know, but people say sometimes this is the reason why. But I can imagine, of course, your family. But mental-wise, was football a therapeutic thing for you rather than just fun?
Nah, I think personally for me, it was my family because I was just married. I had a son that I, you know, had to look after. And I realized that, you know, if you do things properly, life can be amazing. You know,
easier than
pay attention to the right things and enjoy the right things in life. Of course, I enjoyed football. Don't get me wrong. Football has always been one of the driving factors in my life. But I would put a lot more emphasis to family.
I'm glad you said that. No, that's good. MashaAllah. Ahmed.
Yeah, bro. It's
you threw me off with that one, wallah.
I know. It's something that the thing is with me, like not a lot of people mention it to me personally, face to my face.
True. No, you know what? But I don't think they speak about it as well.
I don't know if they don't or they do or they don't. But I know for a fact in Birmingham, like everyone knows it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, either they know it or they'll come to find out at some point. You understand? So I'm glad we had an opportunity to discuss it today. So at least they can see my side of the story rather than seeing a news article or so-and-so has told me Ahmed did such and such.
Yeah, because it can be perceived as... Yeah, I understand.
And what they might also, like, people sometimes they've got this, like, oh, Ahmed is, for example, like, he looks like this, but I didn't know he, you know, so he's not really that good or he's not really that nice of a guy because, So people can make up their own minds anyway. Yeah.
You probably want to bury that in the past, I can imagine. But I'm glad you mentioned it, especially with the people that are watching.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crime right now.
Especially, man. That's the sad thing, bro, because Alhamdulillah, I'm 31 now. I don't think you're that far off, but there's so many youngsters now coming through who are being led down the wrong path, and you hear about stabbings just a few weeks ago. It's so sad. So if my voice or inspire for change that he had on previously, not to put myself in that same category, because I think what he's doing is amazing as well. But if that can help to make a change, because I think friends are underestimated. The importance of friends and the people that you associate with, it is very much underestimated. So try and get your information or your vibes or your influence from people that bring a net benefit to your life, net benefit in terms of like religion, in terms of manners, akhlaq, and that is something that I would advise anyone. And that's something that has also like benefited me to a great extent.
MashaAllah. But yeah, Ahmed, wallahi, today you went...
Try to go deep.
Yeah, no, you did. You didn't try. You went super deep. But of course, there's always a lesson in what you say and what everyone says. I hope anyway. Should we talk about in late your recent explosive performances for our team, Birmingham? The saviour. You came and you're saving us. Well, Ahmed, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. When you first came in the scene and people were saying, "Oh, this guy, semi-pro, ex-professional player, Holland, whatever." Centre back. Were you not playing centre back?
In Holland, I used to play in defence, but
so
since I've been in England, I've played midfield, and that's been going well. But now I'm getting a little bit of a belly, so up front or centre back is where I can do the most damage, I think.
I don't get it though, because
I think you know what.
I think that's
personally,
really
I'm thinking when this I know it's a bit of an excuse, but once I'm finished renovating my house, I've not been to the gym for I don't know, quite a bit. So I'm thinking, inshallah, 2022 comeback season. That's the
new year, new me.
After the summer, so we're already in the new year. So
now, I think it's a little bit rude anyway. If you're saying you're centre back,
yeah,
and you're better than our centre backs,
I know,
and then you say you're midfielder, and you end up being better than the midfielders, and then you go up front, and you're playing better than our. You know what? I'm
enjoying it though, because especially now with Olympia, I've always when I used to live in Holland, I never was really part of the Somali community up until when I was 17, 18. That's when I got exposed to because I grew up in a village in Holland, so I got exposed to the Somali community from the bigger cities and stuff. Then I went to Sweden, when I was 18, I think first year I went to Sweden. Was a good standard at the time. We won the tournament. I went to Canada. I went to America. So I've always enjoyed playing Somali organized tournaments and stuff like that. So now we're playing with Olympia, this Somali Champions League, which is fun. I'm not gonna lie. It's good. It's a good mixture of banter, quality. It's once a month, so it don't take too much out of your schedule. And we're the underdog, which is something that I like, At least that's what I think.
You shouldn't have said that.
Would you say we're the favorites?
No. Look, you come into a place, you come into Birmingham.
Okay, because I'm not native.
No, exactly. Oh my God, you're making it seem like we're underdogs now.
Since I've been here, I've not seen that.
Yeah. But we're getting used to that. Believe me, we were never underdogs before.
Maybe.
No, we shouldn't have put that out there. I'll have to bleep that out. We're not underdogs.
No, it's okay.
No.
That's the thing, bro. Being the underdog is not.
Leave that out. We're not underdogs. Please.
You say we're the favorites.
No, we're not favorites. And we're not underdogs.
Okay.
We're just doing our thing. So
are you top 3?
In the Somali Champions League?
Yeah. If you say Hilltop is clear favorites.
Yeah. You're plugging Hilltop a little bit. Yeah.
No, let's be real.
Yeah, let's be real. Yeah, we're top 3.
We are top 3? Okay, so who would you say is number 2?
Birmingham.
And who's number 3? Okay, who's number 3? How far did we go last? I didn't play last year, but was it final or
semis?
Okay, so maybe I'm downplaying the significance of.
We lost in a very weird way. We should have went to the finals. Okay. I would say we are second.
Okay.
Personally, and top 3. I'd probably put Leicester in there.
Because I know Cardiff used to have a good team. I don't know what's if they fell off.
Did you not hear about Birmingham? We used to have Great
Well, I
team.
remember going to Sweden and Birmingham, like group stages, like
No, the team you're playing with now, the team that we have now, was them younger. We were younger then,
I know.
so it's the same team.
That's why
more
I'm
or
saying
less.
they're the underdogs because it's the same lads.
What do you?
I've
What
lived in Birmingham 6 years. First time I got exposed to Olympia was about 6 years ago,
are the same people?
and it's the same people, bro. Where's the young blood, the new blood?
Wow.
Huh?
Yeah. Okay.
No,
can't-
I'm asking you as a native. Are they know like that's it?
No, they're there. They're there. But it's
It's like a click. I'm gonna say.
yeah. The boys run the team, man. The boys run the team.
No, like if this is it, if these are the best players, then fair enough.
No, I think it's starting to change now.
Okay.
I think you know what, it's always subject to who's.
I'm seeing, to be fair, quite a few youngsters from Dream Chasers that are being integrated. Into
Yeah.
the
I think
Olympia
it's
team,
subject to
which is-
who's managing the club at the time.
Okay.
So right now it's starting to pick up. But with that, because we need experience in these kind of tournaments,
Yeah.
and I don't think that the young blood or the next gen can provide the experience. So if you mix it, maybe it will change.
Yeah.
But it takes time.
Okay, so let's leave underdog or favorites to one side. But so far, I think we've given a mixed account of ourselves. We've scored quite a few goals, but we've conceded quite a few too many. So I think we're halfway through the group stages.
Where do you see us finishing this year?
That's a good question. I just look forward to the Hilltop game. I'm just not
Can't wait,
gonna lie
summer.
to you.
What happened last one? I'll put the video up. Oh, what happened last one? It was
Last one. The thing is, it was like I was surprised because obviously, like I've played like semi-pro and stuff, but the atmosphere that evening was like
Ridiculous,
Was
wasn't it?
nice because I invited some of my friends, that normally they don't like watch any of my
yeah.
like
What did they say? What was the
semi-pro
feedback?
games, but it was local, whatever. They came with their kids, and it was busy. Bit of banter from the fans, towards management and stuff like that. Typical Birmingham. I don't want to, we concede early, move 1-0, 2-0.
Should have been over. Should have been over.
They're
Somehow.
also playing some good football, bro. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm scratching my head thinking, yo,
What is happening?
how, 2-0 early doors, bro. It's not good. Then boom, we got back to 2-2, 3-2. And then last minute we scored the equalizer. And it was a close call, offside, onside. And, referee got abused. And
This is Somali football, man.
referee
Yeah.
say no offside, it's a goal. And then I don't know what happened, bro.
I see you doing surveys though. You're doing
Yeah.
a poll. Yeah, you're doing a poll. You say, yo, was it offside?
I went to the fans, bro. 'cause
You go to every fan and say, yeah.
No, I didn't go to any fan. I
Yeah.
said, who's from London, bro?
Yeah.
I didn't want to, no bias, Birmingham. I said, who's from London? So, there was quite a few people said, one said like definitely offside, one said onside. So I said, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to lie. I was focused on my run. But, some people were adamant, were lies saying, it's offside. And then
What a ball though. What a ball.
that
you
was
got.
a good ball.
What a ball though.
Ziad, my guy,
Yeah, what a ball.
he was so disappointed when he was on the bench.
Yeah.
He's one of the best players that we've got in Birmingham.
What a ball.
And when he came on, from minute one of his attendance till the end, complaining, "Oh, I'm not receiving any balls." I said, "Listen, don't forget about yourself. If
When
you
you
have
get
to
the
track
ball,
back and just defend for the last 15, you have to." And then that piece of quality is probably what we missed throughout the game. And then when he gave that ball, in the end, obviously disappointing for the referee to overturn that decision. But I said to our management, in a way, it's our own fault because we're playing at home. We should have brought independent linos and referees.
No, I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter.
You think?
Not only does it matter because, like, mistakes can happen either way, but this referee now who's being confronted with a lino who is from the other team, like, if he's got a linesman that
Where was the ref from? Was he not from Birmingham?
he was from Birmingham, but I mean the lino was like from either team.
Oh, yeah.
understand what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So the problem you've got then is if you've got your own lino that's part of your own, like,
It's always like that though. It's
he
been
will
like
trust
that.
his linesman.
Yeah.
He will never change his decision because he knows this linesman is
Right now,
legit.
the refs are going to linos, and the linos are playing players or ex-players.
Exactly.
Or the
So now
coaching
he had to
staff.
go to a linesman from the opposing team, and like it's difficult, bro.
They're never gonna
Especially
say it's
with, like
offside.
they should have gotten a
Or
penalty, which they didn't get. So then this lino is saying like, no, it's offside 100%. So as a referee, you know, you might argue you have to go with your lino because he had a better angle. You understand?
Yeah.
So I said like the standard of a tournament like this, I know it's only like the second or third year, but it's something that, you know, in a few years can get traction and more momentum.
Of course.
And if like it's not difficult to have independent referees, like the referee was independent, don't get me wrong, but
The whole team,
two linesmen
basically,
who are independent. I don't think they charge arm and a leg. It's only a few tenors each. And that way there's no dispute about integrity, honesty, and stuff like that. But it was good. That kicked off.
The video was there, though, so we got the footage. We'll put the footage in there.
No, I don't know. That's.
I'll put the footage in. I'll put the footage in. Oh. Put the footage in.
So now
let's kick on to.
We've got Tower. We played last month.
Game as well.
That was a good game.
That was a war.
Good game.
I know. Say it's a game. It was a battle.
We you know, we held tight. We got a draw away from home. So we invite them into the den now. You know, come see us in Birmingham.
Yeah. So
that game we have to win if we want to make it like easy, not easy, but if you want to give ourselves a good chance going to the semi-final, that's a must-win game. It's next week, isn't it?
It's next week, yeah.
Next week. So
27th. So what do you think?
We need as many numbers as possible.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. If this is out before then, yeah, we need as many numbers as possible. Yeah. Probably will be. What do you think favorites then? You said Hilltop.
No, Hilltop, clear cut. Come on, that's undisputed, bro. If you look at the level that they play, the players that they've got, the experience that they've got, you know, we play every now and then, you know, amongst ourselves. But even Tower, I think they're a team in it.
Good.
They play in a league together. So you can't argue that's an advantage that they have. But I think with our underdog status, we can cause damage. You know, people might fancy themselves to beat us. You know, but it's football, bro. What can we say?
Yeah.
I think so far we've done good. We've got 4 points. Yeah, like I said, I think the initiative is class. You know, having teams from all over the UK, Somali, you know, Champions League, the initiative is spot on.
Yeah,
and hopefully we can have teams from Manchester and other.
We'll be waiting for them
in the future.
Yeah,
so we can give a platform for the Somali people, man.
Ahmed, I'm not gonna lie, it's been excellent having you on here, speaking about your experiences and of course what you've got planned in the future. Just wanted to end it with a question. Obviously, it's a little shock question. You're not ready for it. Can you give us the best advice you've ever received in your life,
Ahmed? The best advice. I think I read somewhere. Speak the truth, even if it's against yourself. That's something that has stuck with me for a number of years. Advice that I've not always followed myself, but. Yeah, I think if you do that, being as objective as possible, as honest as possible, I think that can go a long way. That way you don't have to remember things, you know, who said what, when, and where. If you just have that as a guideline through your life, I think that goes a long way. And it's helped me a lot, to be honest. You know, if there's ever a dispute amongst friends or anything like that,
Basically,
doesn't matter who I'm closest with.
Take relationship out.
Take that out.
Okay.
And for me, it comes simple. You know, I try to analyze the dispute and say like, bro, this person is right, this person is wrong. So yeah, I think more of this in the world, and I think that's important. I think that's what's missing in the world. Like if you look at politics, elections, even in the Football Federation now. It seems to me as if people have got a preconceived notion of who they're going to support, who they think is right, based on their personal preferences or their affiliations. And that's what's causing us a lot of problems.
Ahmed, Jazakallah, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you coming today. I'm sure a lot of people that are watching this are thinking, I've got questions to ask, especially with what you've told us today. So do you mind if I put your Insta bio and name on here afterwards? If you want to get in touch with Ahmed, if you've got any issues that you're dealing with, anyone peer pressure you into things you don't want to do, Ahmed will always answer that for you, like you did today, excellently. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. This has been After Hours. This is my dear friend Ahmed Ali.
Thank you.
Peace.